we need to understand something. It's a concept, it's a dual concept, right? Where you have the bourgeois and the proletariat.
You better say it, do you mean?
Proletariat.
Yeah, bourgeoisie.
Let me tell you something. What you need to understand is the relationship between these two premises. The bourgeois is the owner, and this is the worker. Let me tell you something. When we look at the relationship of that is this. When we have an owner of a corporation, he understands one thing, but he may never admit it, that he can do nothing without his workers. Because what you have to understand is what the owner is in the business of is producing goods and services. Producing goods and services. How do you produce goods and services? These are the producers, are the workers. Now, the problem with this is the concepts of both parties. He's trying to make a profit, and they're trying to live and provide for their families. Nobody wants to talk about that. During the period of time when this concept first came into existence by Karl Marx, this is the reality. The business plan for any corporation owner is to make a profit. And I can't begrudge that, but this is the problem I have. You can never make a profit without your workers producing your goods and services. So if they're not producing your goods and services, then you're not going to be productive, and therefore you're going to take a profit loss. Now, as time went on, the workers or the producers started saying to themselves, wait a minute, I have a problem here. I'm producing these goods and services for the owner, but I'm not really being able to take care of my family. Because he's paying me low wages. He's paying me low wages. And then I start saying to myself, I'm staying sick and I can't come to work. I can't come to work when I'm sick, right? And when I don't come to work, I don't get paid. They still have jobs right now in 2013 just like that. If you don't work, you do not get paid.
No benefits.
That is the underlying current of capitalism. Exploitation. That is the underlying current of capitalism is exploitation. I'm going to exploit the workers to maximize my profits. Now, what happened over the course of time was this. Out of the working class came what was called unions. People don't want to talk about unions because, let me tell you why they don't want to talk about unions. People don't want to talk about unions because unions were created to ensure that there was equity in the workplace. What they did was they made sure that people were paid a livable wage. That's the first thing unions did. They were paid a livable wage. They were given paid time off. They were given benefits, dental coverage, medical coverage for not only them, but their families. Why is that significant? Why is that significant? Why do you think that might be significant? That is significant because a healthy worker is a productive worker. So therefore, if he's healthy, he can stay at work, produce your goods and services, and you'll maximize your profits. The problem with that is, you're cutting into my profit margin. This is cutting into my profit margin because this represents money I have to pay out. Meaning the owner, right? Paid time off means exactly that. For the vacation I take, I'm still being paid for it. That's a problem because that's counting against my profit margin. The livable wage is no longer applicable here because it's cutting into my profit margin. So what am I going to do now in 2013? Or maybe 10 years ago, under the last period of time with the Bush administration? What did they think about? And it was a brilliant concept. It said this: if I want to maximize my profits, what I'm going to have to do is find a way around the unions who's making me do right. I'm going to have to find a way around them, right? And I'm going to have to cut my production costs. Yeah. That's what I'm going to have to do. How am I going to do that? Let me come on now, y'all hearing me now? What am I going to do? I'm going to take the jobs and I'm going to move them out of the United States. That's what I'm going to do. You want to know why I'm going to move them out of the United States? Because I'm going to move them to countries that don't have union laws, and I'm going to move them into countries also where I can pay them at least 65 to 70% less to do the same job. That's where sweatshops came from. You got large corporations like Nike, Fat Farm, maybe not Fat Farm. I know there was an article on P. Diddy when he was producing T-shirts and jeans and all of that. Sean Combs. They said, tell me it's not so. You're not over in China or Japan making your products for like 50 cents. And then you come back to the United States and sell it for a maximum profit. Tell me you're not doing that. But they are. And you got a lot of other corporations that's doing it. The other thing they're trying to avoid is paying taxes. Income taxes. Now, how is it that you and I can pay upwards of 20 to 30% income tax? The more money we make, the more we get taxed. But at the same time, you got a corporation that's making money hand over fist by the same workers that is producing their profits, but they pay less taxes than actual workers are. How is that possible in a country where they say, we're capitalists, we're a capitalist nation. We're producers of goods and services. The problem with that is we don't produce anything anymore. There was an active attempt by the Senate of the United States of America to get rid of GM, Ford, and Chrysler. Those are the only corporations that are left here in this country that actually produce things on American soil. Everybody else, if you check, they got companies overseas. And I got one better for you. Some of them have gone so far as to say, well, we're going to say our headquarters is in India. Why do we do that? Because if my headquarters is now on American soil, I'm not subjected to income taxes. Now, where I'm from, and where Wesley Snipes is from, who had to go to prison, it's called income tax evasion. When you're trying to prevent yourself from paying income tax. There's another reason. They take their profits and they send it offshore in private banks, offshore. Don't tell me that's not income tax evasion. I don't care who says it. I don't care who says it. But the problem with that is who controls the message. You don't ever hear about this because the media, the machine that we call the media, decides what information you hear and what information you don't hear. The problem with the media is this, and the media does have sources that tell the truth. But when I'm dealing with the media, I always tell my students, when you're dealing with the media, expect to be lied to, but be pleasantly surprised when they tell the truth. Expect to be lied to, but be pleasantly surprised when they tell you the truth. This is what we're dealing with right now. Now, when I did my research, and we'll get into this later, when I did my research on the Great Depression and what's going on now in today's society, I mean, the relationship was staggering because I'm looking at high unemployment rates during the Great Depression, high unemployment rates now. There's a difference though. Banks are making money hand over fist, but people can't find jobs. So I start wondering, why is that? It all goes back to legislation. What you need to understand about the concept of capitalism, the bourgeois controls the media, the politicians, the majority of them, because they pay them off. That's right. The media outlets, they control those too. The banks. So if I can't get along, what can I do? And now they're controlling voting now. Because with the decision of Citizens United that was passed by the Supreme Court that says, you do not, number one, have to show your identity, and you can pay as much money into politics as you want to, with no repercussions. How about that? So why are they doing that? They're doing that to make sure they continue to control the message, to make Americans think that everything's fine. So when I started talking about, you were starting asking me about the black ruling class, right? Well, during the Civil Rights Movement, that was a period of time when they reaped the benefits of being black in America. So now that I've arrived, and now that I can drive my Benz, my Bentley, my BMW, I can stay in a big house, I can have my profit sharing, I can have my 401k, I can have my retirement, stock dividends, stock transfers, all of those things. I'm saying to myself, I don't see anything wrong with America. Translation, I'm selfish. Because my finances are fine, I'm not caring about my fellow man. I'm not caring about other people that look like me. And what has happened now, the churches have gotten in on it. They have become corporations with crosses. I don't begrudge that, and not all churches are like that. But the ones that are like that, they call themselves prosperity preachers. So you're going to tell me all Jesus thought about was money? Really? What about those issues like character, integrity? How about treating your fellow man as like you want to be treated? What about that? We don't talk about that because those are not popular. See, you got to tell me how many people you got in your congregation. How many people you running down? You got 5,000. That's wonderful, man. Man, that's great. That's great. I aspire to be like you. Won't you aspire to be like Jesus? I'm going to get off of that because there's a separation between church and state. But anyway, the issue of capitalism is this. We don't produce anything, right? We exploit our workers, and we don't care about our fellow man. So basically, we live in a me generation where I maximize my profits. At the same time, I discourage you from voting or take your voting rights altogether from you. Because if I do that, then I can continue to control the power base. And now I'm already controlling the message in the media. So now what we have now is imminent power for now and forever. That's right.
So now, do you think that this is one of the reasons why we're going through this? Well, we're not, technically we're out of this depression, but do you think...
No, we're still in the depression.
Okay, so do you think...
We are.
I believe that that's probably one of the main reasons why we're going through a depression, because of that, because of bourgeoisie.
Yeah, that's exactly why we're going through a depression.